Hey everyone, welcome back to part 2, and we are going to finish this little pullover dress now. Okay, so at this point in the part 2 you should have all the length made, so we only have to finish the bottom part and the two little sleeves, and perhaps we'll have a little bit of yarn left over to do something else with it. Okay, so I have showed this the chart for the length in part 1, and I had to go about 44 centimeters in length, as you can see right here, from the top of the shoulder, and just perhaps a little bit under 44 centimeters. It is absolutely fine. This is going to be a good length, and it does not matter which row you end on. I have the shell row. It is absolutely no difference. We will just put single crochets in every stitch in the next row to start our bottom edging. Okay, so grab your main color. I have my white. Make a slip knot and connect somewhere at the bottom, absolutely anywhere. I'm gonna chain one and make a single crochet back into the same stitch, and then you will keep going with one single crochet into each stitch, so into the next one and the next one and all the others until you go around. Now if you have a V-stitch row at the bottom of this dress, what you're gonna do, you're gonna put a single crochet in the chain one space and a single crochet into each of the other two stitches. So let's say you can see a V-stitch right here. You would have a stitch here on the top of that double crochet, a single crochet in the chain one space, and a single crochet in that next stitch again. So all three stitches. I have 3 stitches here that get a single crochet each, and you do the same. So 1, 2, and 3 single crochets all the way around. And keep going. I have got 1 stitch left, and I make my last single crochet. Then I'm gonna join to the very first stitch, make a slip knot, then you're gonna chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're gonna start making double crochets, 1 double crochet into each stitch. So into the next one, stitch right here, double crochet, and continue on with 1 double crochet into each stitch until you get all the way around the bottom of the dress. So my double crochets are done all the way around, and now I'm gonna slip stitch into the second chain, chain 1 and chain 2. I'm just gonna slip stitch into that, chain 2, 1 and 2, and now we're going to make front post and back post double crochets. So find the next double crochet right here and make a front post double crochet, then a back post, front post, and back post, and keep switching them around until you get to the very end of this row. And this is the last row that we have for the main part of the dress. The next are going to be the sleeves, so keep going for now. I only have 1 double crochet left, and as you can see, that right here is the chain 2, which I will not need unless you finish with the back post double crochet on the very last double crochet. I am actually ending up on a front post, which is absolutely fine, and I can slip stitch into the second chain. Now if your very last stitch right here is a back post double crochet, let me show you. Like this, it will be quite noticeable because you're gonna have the chain 2 and that back post together, so you're not gonna have this nice little sort of a sticking out double crochet right there. So what you can do, okay, so if your last ends up being back post double crochet, you can go around and make a front post double crochet on that chain 2 from the previous row at the bottom. That will even out nicely like this, and then you slip stitch into that second chain. It will just give that extra little post stitch that will look much nicer around the edge. But I am finishing very well. Slip stitch, chain 1, and cut your yarn. I like to leave a little longer ends for cotton because they're a little harder to hide. Okay, pull that out and pull tight. So my dress is almost done. The main part of it is done, and that is how the edge looks like. So exactly the same as on the top right here. The next thing that we are going to do is the sleeves. Now to start the sleeves, the very first thing that we are going to do, we're going to make sure that we are on the same side of the dress. So remember the stitch marker that we have placed to mark the sides? So this is the outside of my dress. After you do the sleeves, if you actually prefer this side to be on the outside, you can just turn it inside out. And you will have the other side, but we need to be on this side at the moment, just so it's easier for me to explain the sleeves. Otherwise there's too many differences, and it's gonna take me a very long time to go through all of them. Okay, next thing, take one of the sleeves. Now at this point it does not matter if you have one chain right here or 4, it is absolutely the same. We are going to take a stitch marker. So I have my stitch markers in the place where I have, here we go, where I have joined my double crochet in. So I'm not gonna crochet in this place, and as it does not matter which row you're on right here. So I'm on shells, you might be on a V-stitch row, it does not matter. We are just going to mark the next place where we are going to put our stitches after the double crochet. So you can see double crochet right here, and the next stitch on the shell is right here. So the next one after the joining spot. Now if you were doing if you have these stitches right here, you are going to look for the next chain 1 space after this join. So it will be a little bit further on because you have connected in the chain 1 space right here. So look for the next one up, and exactly the same on the other side. Look where that double crochet is where you have joined, and mark the next either chain 1 space or the next middle of the next shell. So this is my next shell, I mark the middle stitch. That is going just to be a little bit easier. Now grab your yarn. So I still have a little bit left from my third skein. I have another one which I'm probably going to do something with, something to match the dress. Make a slip knot and join the yarn either in the chain 1 space like me, because I only had 1 chain here, or if you had 4 chains, you just mark, you just join in the very middle somewhere in those 4 chains, just as much in the middle as you can. Chain 2, and now this is where it becomes different. Okay, so I will be making V stitches. So that means that I will be crocheting this row on the outside of the sleeve. Now if you are making little shells, you are going to turn after the chain 2 and start crocheting on the inside of the sleeve, and your first shell is going to be in the double crochet right here where we have joined, and the next one is going to be where your stitch marker is now, because we have moved that, and then in every place further on where it has to be. For me, I have chained 2 and I'm going on the outside of the sleeve doing exactly the same. So my very first V-stitch is going to be on the double crochet right here. Chain 1 and a double crochet. Then I find the place where my stitch marker is and I just make a V-stitch in there. And then continue on in the appropriate places, just like the pattern we have done before. So I am making V-stitches in every middle stitch of the shells from the previous row. And keep going around until you get to your next stitch marker. So if you are making shells, you're going from the inside of the sleeve, and again you will be right here. Your stitch marker is going to be on this side where my stitch marker is on the other side. You just keep going around. I've gotten to my next stitch marker on the other side of the sleeve. I'm gonna make my V-stitch, chain 1, double crochet, and then we only have this double crochet to finish with. So another V-stitch. Again, if you are making shells in this row, you're gonna have a double crochet on the other side right here where you make your last shell, and then you just connect it into that second chain right here at the very, very bottom. So chain 1 and chain 2 and connect. Now for those people who were making a shell row right now, you are finished. You're gonna chain 1 and cut your yarn, because you will only have to do the edging now. Now for me it's one more row, because for the sleeves we want to finish with the shell row. So chain 2, now you have connected, you're going to chain 2, you're gonna turn. We will be going on the inside of the sleeve right now, and now we will be making shells in every chain 1 space. Find the next one and just make your 3 double crochets. Into the next one. And the next one. And just keep going around until you fill in every chain 1 space all the way around the sleeve, and I'm gonna meet you right here. Finish my very last shell and I'm going to connect into that second chain. So first and second, connect with a slip stitch, chain 1 and cut your yarn. Now at this moment we should all be finished with a shell row. I'm gonna pull that out right here. I can take my stitch markers out, I do not need them anymore. And now we're just going to finish off this sleeve. Grab your main color for the border or the edge, and we are going to connect at the very bottom. So I'm just gonna connect right behind that little knot where I had the chain 1. I'm gonna connect. I am going to chain 1 and make a single crochet right in front of that knot. So right here, and make a single crochet. Now at this point you can decide, okay, so I feel that these sleeves are a little wide right here, so I want to tighten them up a little bit while doing the front and back post double crochet. So this is where this row comes in. So I'm going to skip every 6th stitch just to give it a tiny little bit tighter look on the sleeve. Now if you don't mind it being wider, you can just make 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way around. Okay, so I have 1 single crochet made, so I'm gonna count that. So I have 1, then you go into the next stitch. I'm gonna crochet over the tail here. Into the next stitch you make 1 single crochet, that's 2 in a row. Into the next stitch 3, into the next 4, into the next 5, and then it's stitch number 6, which I'm going to completely skip, okay, because I want to tighten it up a little bit. So I'm going to completely skip the stitch number 6, go into the next one and start counting again. So 1 into the next one, 2 into the next, 3 next, 4 next, 5. After number 5 I skip 1 stitch and go into the next one again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I skip number 6 and keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and skip number 6 and keep going all the way around the sleeve, and I'm gonna meet you at the bottom right here. So I'm finishing this row of single crochets and I have 1 stitch right here, and I end up skipping it. Now you don't have to do that. It doesn't matter how many you actually got to skip. It is absolutely fine. We did not count the stitches, so it does not matter. Just remember this when you're doing this, the second sleeve, that you do exactly the same thing. Now you're gonna skip that chain 1 in the beginning, find the next stitch and join, chain 2, and start making 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way around the sleeve. So finished my row of double crochets, I'm gonna join into the second chain, so right here again, chain 2 and start making your front post and back post double crochets to finish this little sleeve. And keep going around the sleeve until you come to the end. And I'm finishing this sleeve, and I have 1 more double crochet left, and that is a back post double crochet for me. Now as it is under the armhole and you will not be able to see, I am just going to finish it as it is, but if you don't like that, if you want it to look a little bit better, because you can see it becomes a little bit of a dip right here, you can just make a front post double crochets using that chain 2 that was from the previous row, like this. Like I said, I don't mind, you won't be able to see this, so I'm just going to slip stitch into that second chain, chain 1 and cut my yarn, make it a little longer tail, pull that out, and this is how my sleeve looks like. So it's a bit hard to see on the white table, but it is slightly tucked in at the edges right here. Okay, so now you have to do exactly the same with the other sleeve, and then I can show you a few tails, how to hide them. My both sleeves are finished, and all I have to do is to hide my tails. Okay, so I'm going to quickly show you how I do this. I'll start with the ones on the inside, right here at the neckline. So I'm grabbing the main color here. Now I have quite a small needle, just because it's cotton. It will be easier for me to hide. So what I want to do is I want to bring this main color thread a little bit down. So I'm gonna go on the side or in the middle of the double crochet from the V-stitch right here. I'm gonna go down, and I'm just going to hide it in this line right here, in between the stitches. So I'm gonna go forward, so I end up under the shell right here, and I'm gonna come back. Right here. Now you can do it 3 times if you feel that it's not secure. Now this cotton is not very slippery, so I'm happy to cut it off after 2 times. I'm quite sure it's not gonna come out. And then this right here, the top thread, the white one. So this is the joint where I have joined. I'm just gonna give it a little pull so it's tighter, and I'm gonna hide it in this line right here. So I'm gonna go in between or in the middle of the stitches, down. Make sure that you don't pull too much on the top so it stays straight, and then again I'm coming straight back up. And the bottom one again, I'm gonna use the same line. I'm gonna go up and down. And this is pretty much what you do. You just hide those tails in the same color, in between the same color stitches. So I'm just gonna do the sleeve off camera really quickly, and then we'll see how the dress looks like after that. And my dress is completely finished. I have not done anything to it yet. I have not done any kind of decorations, but I do have a little bit of yarn left, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes what I'm going to do with it. Now, if you're finished, you don't have any more yarn left, or you just don't want to do anything else to the dress, I will wish you all the best of luck, and I will see you in my next video. Okay, so for those who have a little bit or a little bit more yarn left, this is what I can offer you. Okay, so I usually don't like to leave yarn around, especially when you have one skein of this left, and it's probably just gonna end up in the bottom of the box doing nothing for many years. So I'd rather use it now. Okay, but I still have a lot. You might have less. Now, if you have less yarn left, what I can offer you is to do little pockets like this. They are tiny, they're a bit more decorative rather than useful. I don't know, but they might get a hand in there. They're just small little pockets. So I need to do another one. You only need a very, very small amount of this yarn. Now the next thing that I'm going to show you, I'm just kind of, at the moment, I'm just showing you this as an inspiration. I have done this little summer hat for the smaller kind of a jeans dress. I'm not planning to do a video tutorial on this at the moment, unless you want me to do it, then I can. I'm just it's easier for me to do tutorials on sort of a dresses or cardigans. This is my thing. I'm not very confident in hats, but I can show you how to make this one if you want. But you're gonna have to leave a comment for me, and then I can do it after. Okay, but for now we are on to the little pockets. So little pockets like this, as I said, they only need a very tiny little bit of yarn. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the main color, which is white, and I can't find, found my hook. Fantastic. Now, to do the pocket, we are going to start with chaining 18, with 18 chains. In the main color, in the white one, we're starting it from the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 chains. Yarn over and go into the third chain from your hook. So 1, 2 into the third one and make a double crochet. And then keep going with 1 double crochet into each chain. Now those 2 chains that we have skipped in the beginning counts as a double crochet, so we have 1, 2, 3, and we should end up with 17 double crochets. Again, including those 2 chains, we count as 1 double crochet. So double crochet to the very end. Okay, so row 2 of the pocket, we are going to chain 2. We are going to turn, and we are gonna start with a back post double crochet over the second double crochet. So we skip the first one, find the second one, and make a back post double crochet. Next one is a front post and back post and front post, and you keep going until you get to the end of this row. I'm coming to the end. Okay, so front post, I have 2 stitches left right now, so I have double crochet and the chain 2, so you end up doing a back post double crochet. It might be a little bit tricky there, just take your time. Okay, so that double crochet I'm gonna catch and make a back post double crochet, and in the chain 2, in the top of that chain 2, I'm just gonna make a normal double crochet like this. Chain 1 and turn. Now we're gonna make single crochets into each stitch. So starting from the very first stitch right here, make a single crochet, and you're gonna have 17 of them. So 1 into the next one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and your very last one goes into the top of that chain 2. It might be a little bit tricky again, just take your time. Got a little tight. Oh, there we go. And 17. I'm gonna chain 1 and cut my yarn. I'm gonna leave it a little bit longer like this. Brilliant. Pull that out. Now take your main color it's a little stuck. Oh, give me a second. Okay, so I've got it. Now you are going to connect your main color at the side with no end. Okay, so this is where I have finished. I'm gonna connect right here into the very first stitch right here. I'm gonna connect this and chain 2, 1, 2. Then you're gonna skip one stitch, skip one into the third one, or sorry, excuse me, into the second one, make a V stitch. Now skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and a V stitch. Skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, V stitch. This. Skip 2, V stitch. Skip 2, 1, 2, V stitch. You should have 5 V stitches in total. I have a little thread here which I'm gonna hide in the next tail. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the very last stitch you get to skip one, and into the very last stitch you make 1 double crochet. And now you're going to continue with the pattern just like we did with the dress. It's very splitting for some reason. So next row I'm just gonna do 3 double crochets into each chain 1 space, and I will end up with 1 double crochet in on top of that chain 2. Well, let me get to the end of this row. Just gonna catch this. One more shell. And you always finish every row in the top of the chain 2 at the very end, like this. Again, chain 2 and continue on with a V stitch. So I have 5 rows in total, so V stitch, shell, V stitch, shell, and V stitch. So you can make it longer if you like. It's completely up to you. So I will see you when I have 5 rows of main color finished. Okay, so this is my row number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Finish with a double crochet into the second chain, chain 1, and cut your yarn. So once you have 5 rows done, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we are gonna do the little edging around. We're just gonna go and make it nice and neat. We're going to connect. So if you look at it like this, so you have the tail, at the right hand side corner, so you're gonna connect in the side where there's no tail. So right here, find the top of the chain 2, connect your yarn, chain 1, and make a single crochet back into that same stitch. Then we are gonna start going all the way around the pocket, making half double crochets. So wherever you can find the next space so that it looks nice and neat, make your half double crochets. So I will try to do 2 half double crochets into the side of each row, but if at any time you feel that they are too close to each other, you can always skip a little space. Besides, I am crocheting over those tails, so I can just cut them off and I don't have to sew them in or hide them. So keep doing half double crochets till you get to the bottom corner, just like this. I'm gonna, that's it, that's enough for those tails. Okay, so I have chain 2 left right here before the V-stitch. So I'm gonna make a half double crochet into that bottom chain, or into the first one, and 3 half double crochets into the top one, because this is going to be a corner. So 1, 2, and 3. I'll keep going on the bottom of the pocket, making 1 half double crochet into each stitch. So keep going around, finish it by yourself. Again, you're gonna make 3 half double crochets in the very corner right here, and just go up, and do not cut your yarn, just wait for me. Once you go all the way up to the top, your very last stitch is going to be a single crochet. You're going to chain, and now you're going to cut your yarn. Now leave this tail longer so you can sew the pocket with the same thread. And now pull that out. I have crocheted over all my tails, so I can just cut them off, but if you need to hide them, go on and do that before we sew them on. So I'm just going to cut them off because they're all crocheted over. Just like that. Now you're gonna find a place where you want them to be. And I'm just going to find a few little needles just to pin them down, and I think I want to do the little bow at the right now. So I have positioned my both pockets where I want them to be. They are quite close to the bottom, but this is where I want them to be. I have a little book underneath, so I don't sew the pocket to the other side of the dress. Now you don't have to do that, whichever way works for you is absolutely fine. So I pinned my both pockets, and I just want to put in the little ribbon. I just have a little piece of it. I'm just gonna go in through the very middle V-stitch and just make a little bow. So I'm gonna make them both about the same size. I think perhaps a little bit smaller, like this. You need to tighten it. That looks okay with me. After I'm done, I'm just gonna glue these together so they don't come undone. For now, I'm just gonna shorten right here. If I need to, I'm just gonna put another little ribbon. For now, it looks okay. So find your needle and start with whichever pocket you want. I'm just gonna start with a closer one right here. Make sure your both pockets are aligned at the bottom and at the top, so they look as much in the same place as possible. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so right about here, and just start sewing it on whichever way you do it. I'm just gonna go in between the stitches, just like that. And just like that, all the way around. And to finish the pocket, we need to secure the very end. So I'm gonna go in one more time. I'm just gonna keep my finger in the loop, and I'm gonna go in through the loop with my needle, and I'm gonna pull tight to make sure that there is a nice knot, good knot, that it's not coming out. And then I'm just gonna hide my tails a little bit in between the single crochet row right here, and I'm going to cut my yarn. And now I'm gonna do exactly the same thing with the other pocket. So I'm gonna see you once I'm finished with this one. And my dress is now complete. Absolutely nothing else to do. I am very happy with it. So hopefully you made this too. And I will say thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!